Hello everyone, this is Chirlatan NT, and my final project is Big Data Case Study in Social Media as part of my Big Data Analytics course at Harvard Extension School. So let's get started. As an overview, I think we'll be covering the social media, and everybody know that we have Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and all those different social media platforms. For my final project, I decided to go with Twitter. And from the case study, what I'm trying to do and the problem is to get access to the Twitter data and do some analysis, on the data available out there. And the use cases with Twitter could be that we could search the tweets and the users, and count some data and the hashtags and so forth. So how I'm planning to do this, and we'll be using the Twitter R. It's an R-based Twitter API client, and from the tool itself, we'll be using R Studio and leveraging the language R, and using the powerful statistical analysis it offers. And we'll be going over some of the installation and configuration of the platform and how to register with the Twitter Web API, and also the OAuth settings to create uh, the security credential file, pretty much, and create a handshake from the R Studio to the Twitter Web API, and get connected to the world of Twitter basically. And then eventually then we will cover some of the Twitter API, topics, functions, and method calls available. So what we can do with those uh, API calls, and I'll be also demonstrating a couple of use cases which I try to access and dig through the Twitter data. And we'll be covering some of the challenges and drawbacks and some key takeaways, from this project. So as we all know, with the recent social media and social networking apps and platforms, so everybody has been creating content, and the drivers from both sides, from the technology and the social media, is created a need for the analytics in the data to make meaningful sense, out of these for our everyday decision making. And as we all know, the Twitter is an online social networking service and a micro blogging service, which enables the users to send and read text-based messages up to like 140 characters, which we all know as tweets. Uh, is Twitter a big data? Yes, why not, right? I mean, we have 500 million plus users. There is 340 million tweets per day and still growing, and almost 1.6 billion search queries. Twitter, generates 7+ terabyte of data, and then growing to be petabyte from the content. And there's a research company which looked at almost 40% of the people are talking about pointless babble, and then 38 are more conversational, 9 are like pass along values, 6 being self promotion and spam and news. So that's the content. So what are the use cases we can approach with Twitter? We can pretty much get the latest trending topic, whatever we are talking about, and also we can look at the verified accounts of all the celebrities and how many people are following them and so forth. We can search the tweets, what people are tweeting about, and search the users and their followers, count words and hashtags, pretty much, and then do sentimental analysis, probably ranking, and analysis on the tweets itself and demographics. So and if you look at, there have been recent use cases, even with big data was performed on trying to find the Boston Marathon suspects. I think it was social media, and then crowdsourcing with all the media, what the federal agencies have been receiving, and they did use big data to dig through to help and identify the suspects. So what is Twitter R? So it's an R-based API client, and this provides an interface to the Twitter Web API from the Twitter platform. And the current version of this client is 1.1.6. It's pretty recently published, and this definitely needs a particular version of R, which is minimum being 2.12. And there's a link where you can download the Twitter R API client, and this is part of the main R project. So this is being supported by the main R platform. Uh, to have the Twitter R API, there are other dependencies that you might have to need to load, and these packages are RO for authentication, R curl, R JSON, digest, and tops. Um, I think based on the different versions of the R, I think the latest version 3.0 automatically loads these dependent packages. I think the older versions you might have to load them individually if needed. From the tool itself, we will use the R Studio and try to leverage the language R. I mean, I think everybody knows R is a free, it's statistical and computing tool, which gives access to fancy graphics with the data, whatever we can, and it runs on wide variety of platforms. So, and we will go over some of the installation and configurations. Definitely you need to get access to and install RStudio and download the package Twitter R, and this can be done directly from the RStudio. It automatically downloads from the web, and then pretty much you have to load the package into the environment. And as I said earlier, the new version automatically loads and makes available the different packages as well. And we will go over the steps of registering with the Twitter Web API, which pretty much creates a key, as a consumer key and a consumer secret, which is like an SSL certificate sort of process where you have to create a file and authenticate and get access to the Twitter Web account, so you can access the whole world of data that Twitter has to offer. And during the process, there will be a URL, and where you have to, a pin is generated, and you have to use that for your security credentials. So this is the installation procedure as you might go through in language R. You just call install package Twitter R, it automatically downloads, and then you call library at Twitter R, it starts loading the package itself and the dependent packages. If not, you just call library and load all these packages. So now your environment is all set from the language R uh, to to access the Twitter API, web API. So now you go to the other side. The Twitter has a dev.twitter.com, a developer portal. So you register with them and you start creating a new application. For this purpose, I created an application called Big Data, the course project name. So what it does is, it gives you a key, and then the URL how you want to access from the external application or any external client. Uh, so here, this is the key combination. I've grayed out the key and secret, but you will have a key and secret, and then the URL. So the Twitter Web API uses O authentication. This is an open protocol which allows a secure authorization from client and to this API. So now it's pretty much used across various web and mobile and desktop applications. So once you have these keys, so now you go back to your R environment, and then since you have already loaded the API, so now you can call the OAuth factory and pass the key and secret and all the URL, and then you create a credential, and then and you create a handshake with that credential. Uh, when you do that, I mean, there are two ways. You can pretty much save the file locally, and then you can reuse the file, or else if you chose not to, you create the file. Every session you have to come back, create a handshake. When you perform the handshake, uh, the handshake routine throws a HTTPS URL with the token. So you have to, the next screen, is pretty much the same thing. So you access that URL, you authorize the app, and it throws you back a PIN number. You get that PIN number, you come back. When you create the handshake, it throws the URL back at you. It waits for your input, which is nothing but the PIN number. You plug in the PIN number, and then the handshake is complete. So meaning either it's a session level handshake every time you access, or if you chose to create a file, and then you can save the file, and then you can reuse it whenever you wanted to. So you can use the register Twitter OAuth and either use the handshake directly or the file to get connected to the Twitter API. So once all these things are established, now you are technically hooked up and connected to the Twitter account, and you can access the Twitter data. So let's look at some of the Twitter or topic functions and method calls available. So I think we looked at the first one. That's how we register and authenticate with the Twitter API. So you can get to know trends available, get to know the users, search the Twitters, understand the timelines, friendships, and play with the various statuses and so forth. Pretty much. Uh, you know, the second one is the use cases. Let's understand the latest trends that's happening in the Twitter space. Uh, and, uh, and while I was working through, I always ran into an issue of SSL certificate. So you know eventually then I found a way to get over that. If you look at the command, there's a second parameter which says SSL verify peer false. So I was able to suppress that, or get around that SSL issue with this parameter. So definitely watch out for my detailed instructions on the other material I provided. So pretty much now, on the today's trends, people were talking about the scandals, the Mother's Day, the America's Tea, probably looks like MLB takeover. So these are the latest trends that people are talking about from the Twitter space. And the other use case, what here, I try to demonstrate, is uh, we are searching the Twitter for this, for the recent probably 300 posts. So I'm trying to collect the from the public timeline how the various tweets came from. What is the sources? Meaning, did it come from you know the web platform or the various mobile devices of inputs the tweets came from. So that's the end result of this use case. So so we these are the series of commands. The first one being the Twitter API call, where it talks to the Twitter and gets the data, and then pretty much we use the R language to analyze the data, and then compile and create a pie chart. So the next screen is this is nothing but the pie chart where on a real time we pulled the last 300 tweets, and then we looked at, I think the major chunk of the tweets came from the web platform, and the second one is mostly the tweet deck. I think that's another app sort of interface what it's available. And there are the application itself people are using from other mobile devices, iPad, iPhone, and so forth. So this is a real time analysis of the tweets from the sources itself. And the other real time stuff I tried myself is I logged into my own personal Twitter account, and then I went and tweeted that I was doing a demo. So you can see that on the other small window the tweet is being recorded. And on the R, I went back and I used the user timeline command line. I gave my Twitter account and I tried to pull the last 5 tweets, and there you go. So you can see the same tweet what I tweeted, coming back at me. So that's another use case I've tried to demonstrate. Uh, Going over some of the challenges and drawbacks, definitely